Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from today. Welcome to our Power Boost. Today has a one-word topic. However, I didn't think that would be very endearing, so we will talk about it. And I am going to borrow from a very well-known poet and poem, which is titled Do Not Go Gently into That Good Night. Do not go gently into that good night. Except that I'm thinking of it as a question because when I when I first heard that poem, I really liked it, but that was a long time ago. That was before I got to know as much as I know now about life, which of course I've gotten to know through meditation and all of the applied disciplines that accompany meditation, which of course we are sharing with you. So the two lines from the poem that I'm sure you might have heard is do not go gently into that good night. Rage, rage, rage against the dying of the light. And so the question that came to mind graphically for me over the last week or so was why not? And of course, the reason that it came to mind is because, as I'm sure you know, in the New York and surrounding areas, we had some earth shaking. And in fact, there was another event that also everyone would have heard about, which of course was the eclipse. And interestingly enough, both of those two occurrences had people thinking about their mortality. Yeah, anything seismic like that usually has us thinking about our mortality. And of course, when we start thinking about that, there is a lot of fear and despair, and that was reflected everywhere after we had that shaking. And so, of course, that fear and that despair comes from not knowing enough and not even willing to engage in this subject enough, which is why, as I said at the beginning, I didn't give it that one word title. So as I asked the question, why rage against the dying of the light? And of course, the main reason for that is we don't know where we're going. And that uncertainty, as well as the fact that we're so attached to what we are going to have to leave behind, especially the body that we're in. And that brings up all of this apprehension, which was being expressed everywhere and by everyone after the earthquake, and even the eclipse. And so what I want to bring to your attention today, as we've done from time to time, is to remind you who you are. We remind you often enough that you're not this body. And it's something that seems like it would make sense, because whenever we're called upon to have to deal with this event that we all have to deal with, most of us, reluctantly or not, are fairly sensible about it. And in fact, we even in our comforting those who are left behind, we always would remind them that their loved one is going to this wonderful place, this paradise. But that's um, something that should not have you be unhappy if you're going to this better place. So on the one hand, we express that, but at the same time, because of who and what we're leaving behind and our attachment to this body that we're in, there is, as I said, all this fear and despair. So I want, with our meditation today, in the moments that we have, to really remember who you are, not just today, but all the time. And of course, the more you practice this remembrance, the more you will have that understanding that would remove this mystery that we seem to have associated with this event that we all have to face. And so, who are you? Who are we all in these different bodies, different costumes? Remember that you are, and as you do this with me this morning, go within and have this visualization of your eternal form, this light within that you are, this loving, this all powerful, this being within, this invisible witness that you are, that is beyond harm, that always is, always was, always will be. And so right now, hold that vision. You are indestructible. You are this being that comes into this body needing nothing, wanting nothing. And in fact, we are so overflowing and filled with all that we need for this journey, we can spend all of that time sharing and caring and giving. And so we can begin to have a whole different relationship with that time that we all have to depart. And so when the poet says you should rage against the dying of the light, you can ask yourself the question, why resist? What is it that you are resisting? And what you are resisting is natural. It's change. It's a transformation. And in fact, you can use every day to prepare for that change, to prepare for that transformation. And in doing so, you can have a tomorrow, you can have a future that you have paved the way for, that you have allowed all of your interactions and all of your exchanges and all of your relations as an investment in this future that we are all entitled to and that we can all invest in. And so hold that firm foundation within and be assured that you are, with every breath and with every interaction, being given an opportunity to prepare your own way forward. And so we can move from the Dylan Thomas's interpretation of that time to the one that, for me, gives it its true meaning. And that one comes from another very well-known poet, Rabindranath Tagore. And what he says, and what's very real, and you can make this very real, is that death is not the extinguishing of the light. Death is not the extinguishing of the light. It is putting out the lamp because dawn has come. A new beginning, a new opportunity. And so you can look forward to that new day dawning instead of dreading it, and be much better prepared for it. And so that there is no fear and despair. There is no sorrow and grief. And you can really celebrate someone's life so that yours can be celebrated when that time comes. And those who you are leaving behind can be left fulfilled as you are leaving. And so That is the thought that you can inculcate today and have that be included in your awareness, because we're going to have a lot more of the kinds of occurrences that caused so many to think of their mortality. However, what can really change is that you have an understanding of your eternality instead. And so you can see yourself from that powerful perspective. And if that has not already begun for you, may today be that day when you can go beyond the consciousness of this body that you're in and think of the true self, the everlasting self, the forever you. Om Shanti.